There's this enormous mystery waiting to be unlocked. And the BRAIN Initiative will change that by giving scientists the tools they need to get a dynamic picture of the brain in action and better understand how we think and how we learn and how we remember.
The BRAIN Initiative is a $6 billion fund to find new ways.
President Barack Obama, the US and Australia are funding research into a device that could someday allow people to control their minds, and without invasive brain surgery. When implanted into a blood vessel, this network of tiny electrodes can record your brain signals. It sounds like something from the future, but it's just another example of how investing in research can move us all forward.
CIA documents refer to the feasibility of remote control of animals, and that special investigations will be conducted toward the application of selected elements of these techniques to man.
There's no way that I can see that it could be abused or misused.
A group of scientists say we are closer than ever to creating technology which can emerge with human biology in order to access the cloud in real time. Confused? Well, RT's Rachel Blevins is here and has all the details.
Can you imagine technology that is so advanced it could provide you with instant access to the world's knowledge and artificial intelligence as soon as you think of a specific topic? According to a group of scientists from around the world, neural nanorobotics may be developed to enable a safe, secure, instantaneous, real-time interface between the human brain and both biological and non-biological computing systems. This level of technology could include brain-to-brain interfaces, brain-to-computer interfaces, and specifically brain-to-cloud interfaces. Technology linking the brain to the cloud could drastically alter the state of communications between humans and machines. So in order for this to become possible, the study noted that data transfer between living human brains and the cloud would likely require the use of supercomputers with artificial intelligence algorithms.
The Human Brain Project's high-performance computing platform will offer simulation scientists unprecedented exascale computing capabilities. New techniques of interactive supercomputing will give scientists the tools to visualize and work with simulations as they run, the same way they would use an instrument in the lab. New high-performance computing technologies from the Human Brain Project will have an impact that goes far beyond brain.
2013 to 2014, new centers working on cybernetic technologies for the development of radical life extension rise. The race for immortality starts. 2015 to 2020, the Avatar is created, a robotic human copy controlled by thought via brain-computer interface. It becomes as popular as a car. In Russia and in the world appear, in testing mode, several breakthrough projects. Android robots to replace people in manufacturing tasks. Android robot servants for every home. Thought-controlled avatars to provide telepresence in any place of the world and abolish the need for business trips. Flying cars. Thought-driven mobile communications built into the body or sprayed onto the skin. 2020 to 2025, an autonomous system providing life support for the brain and allowing it interaction with the environment is created. The brain is transplanted into an Avatar B. With Avatar B, man receives new, expanded life. 2025, the new generation of avatars provides complete transmission of sensations from all 5 sensory robot organs to the operator. 2030 to 2035, ReBrain. The colossal project of brain reverse engineering is implemented. World science comes very close to understanding the principles of consciousness. 2035, the first successful attempt to transfer one's personality to an alternative carrier. The epoch of cybernetic immortality begins. 2040 to 2050, bodies made of nanorobots that can take any shape arise alongside hologram bodies. 2045 to 2050, drastic changes in social structure and in scientific and technological development. All the prerequisites for space expansion are established. For the man of the future, war and violence are unacceptable. The main priority of his development is spiritual self-improvement. a new era dawns. The era of neo-humanity.
The connections will start to be made between artificial intelligence and the human brain. And the human brain will be connected to what he calls the cloud. Another name for this is the smart grid, basically to artificial intelligence. As time passes, artificial intelligence will be more and more of human thinking and human perception until basically it's the totality of human thinking and human perception, at which point we won't be human anymore in terms of the consciousness processes we are using today. We will be artificial intelligence. And this is the assimilation I'm talking about. If you are connecting the human mind to a grid, a global technological grid, that grid can be centrally controlled. It will take at the center point very, very few people to run it, and even fewer to decide how it's run.
Based on the highly sanitized technical papers that are in the public domain, the Jade 2 system is able to register emotion and calculate intent based on our direct and passive interactions with technological devices, and it's capable of rewriting its very own programming to adapt to human activity. That means it can learn, and that its intelligence isn't artificial. It's self-sufficient and self-aware. It boggles the mind, and it's everything we'd expect a Skynet to be. Everything you can think of as being no big deal is being used to build a profile of who you are, where you go, and what you do, so that if need be, it can predict your future behavior, so that it can predict what you are going to do and where you are going to be. Of course, this program is in its infancy stage compared to what it is going to become. That is why I say to you, if you can escape, now's the time to do it, because once this system has evolved and has become fully automated and fully functional, there will be no escaping the new reality.
It's the stuff of a Hollywood movie, but a group of veterans has filed a lawsuit against the CIA and U.S. Army claiming that the government planted remote control devices in their brains. The claims relate to a government program at the U.S. Army's Edgewood Arsenal in Maryland, where scientists tested hundreds of chemical and biological substances on at least 7,800 servicemen. So could this really be happening? Well, joining me to help.
You will encounter some form of neurocognitive science that has been weaponized not only in your military career, but in your personal and professional lives. It is valid, valuable, and already in operational play. The brain is the current and future battle space.
There is a very real risk that you are going to become a full-blown 24/7 targeted individual. And this technology at that point, when it is nationwide, will be used by automated computer, supercomputer software programming. That the true control grid is this technology, voice-to-skull, hive mind, behavior manipulation technology. And it can all be done remotely. It can be done simply by targeting you with the frequency, locking into the resonant frequency of your DNA and your mind, and in that manner completely track and trace and control you 24 hours a day.
The brain is the current and future battle space.
So what we're talking about here is total technological control in a way that I don't think the average person can even fully grasp the level of. The five sense reality can be manipulated, just straight up. And so we're going to live in a world where seeing is not believing. You're going to be trapped in this matrix that they've been building for decades. They've built this whole structure that they've placed over the natural world, and they can bypass your senses with it. Literally. That's what it means to say a world where you can't tell the difference anymore between reality and what that is and this matrix.
It's so realistic, you will not be able to tell the difference between that game and the reality as we know it.
And it's not a coincidence at all that all the movies and TV shows that you're seeing come out right now are just right there to reinforce this idea to you that reality is not what you think it is. You aren't who you think you are. There's a hidden secret you haven't been told about everything. It's all coming together. There's a reason people refer to this as spiritual warfare.
Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA, which we know too well by these robot videos. The new program is called Neural Engineering System Design, or NESD, which aims to develop an implantable neural interface connecting humans directly to computers. Philip Elvelde, NESD manager for DARPA, said its goal was to upgrade the tools that we have to really open the channel between the human brain and modern electronics. At the moment, human-computer interfaces are able to connect between 100 and 1,000 brain neurons to a machine at a time. DARPA aims to refine this technology to connect individual neurons. This would give much finer control, reduce noise, and speed up communications between a human and a computer. DARPA's website confirms the news, also citing that among the program's potential applications are devices that could compensate for deficits in sight or hearing by feeding digital, auditory, or visual information into the brain at a resolution and experiential quality far higher than possible with current technology. Considering that DARPA's research has an end goal of military application,
it could take our brain out of our body and keep it alive in a glass box. Then let's get a computer filled with information related to a particular setting, such as image, sound, and smell. We'll connect this computer to the brain with electrodes and send the pre-recorded data to the brain. As our brain receives these signals, it will see and live the setting that the computer is transmitting. We could also send signals to the brain from this computer about our own image. For example, we could send the electrical information, such as the sight, hearing, and touch, that we would experience while sitting at a desk. Our brain would perceive that we were a businessman sitting in his office. This imaginary world would continue as long as the information kept coming from the computer, and we would never realize that we were actually a brain sitting in a glass box.
But the reality is, we're only in our homes connecting to a digital space. So that presence is an illusion. And once we get to a point of augmented and virtual reality, well, that just takes the phrase spirit of slumber to a whole new, unprecedented level.
And so once you have connected the targeted individual with the frequency and they resonate together, then you'll have a perfect avenue upon which to send and receive information back and forth. And that's exactly how they manipulate someone's thoughts. They send voices into someone's head. They manipulate their emotions. They manipulate their behavior. And then that's also how they receive back from the individual in real time the vital signs, the emotions, the thoughts, what the person's seeing, what the person's hearing. And then all that information, of course, is rendered on a computer elsewhere via software, and it can be monitored and tracked in real time.
News are reporting on a place where all that data is heading.
Bluffdale, Utah, 25 miles south of Salt Lake City, the NSA is nearing completion on a gargantuan new project. It's named the Utah Data Center. The NSA will neither confirm nor deny the specifics, but some estimate the center will be capable of storing 5 zettabytes of data, or enough to store every email, cell phone call, Google search and surveillance camera video in America for a very long time. All the NSA would tell us is that the Utah Data Center is a facility for the intelligence community that will have a major focus on cybersecurity. We weren't given access last summer, but we could see it from the sky.
I want you to look real close, because right now we're 500 feet over the Utah Data Center, and this is as close as you're going to get without a security clearance.
You can actually see the cranes right now after 12 o'clock.
Wow. From the sky, it's huge.
Yeah, it's gigantic.
Man, woman, and child in the United States of America will be under the influence of this technology, and as you can see going forward, what's going to happen is a dividing line is going to be drawn in America. And it's not going to be Democrat or Republican or black and white, rich, poor, Jew, Gentile, religious differences, whatever it is. It's going to be based on who is on the right and the wrong side of this technology, who is on the right and the wrong side of this program. And so if you are not a part of this program, then there is a very real risk that you are going to become a full-blown 24/7 targeted individual. And this technology at that point, when it is nationwide, will be used by automated supercomputer software programming that will manipulate the emotions and the behavior and the thoughts of everybody in the United States of America. And it can all be done remotely. It's very much like the microchip kind of tracking the New World Order, this entire, control grid that's supposed to be rolled out against the American people someday. And I'm here to tell you that it's already here. There isn't going to come a day where there's troops in the streets and tanks rolling down your neighborhood and riot gear and all this stuff. We might have isolated incidents like that. It might get like that every once in a while, but the true control grid is this technology, voice-to-skull, hive mind, behavior manipulation technology. And it can all be done remotely. It can be done simply by targeting you with the frequency, locking into the resonant frequency of your DNA and your mind, and in that manner completely track and trace and control.
Used by the Germans during the Second World War to identify
study data with the Russians back in the 60s and 70s and even further back, and he figured out scientifically, demonstratively, how non-ionizing radiation at various specific frequencies from microwaves or from other signals, how they could alter human and animal behavior. For instance, a simple 10 Hz wave could put someone into a stupor within a couple of minutes. Using neuroelectric devices that they developed by the 70s, they could put individuals or entire towns to sleep on command. They can back.
We must reject the notion that the 5G future will be the sole providence of urban areas. The 5G revolution will touch all corners of our country. We are the pioneers.
JADE came from a 3-part software program, and that program was called JADE. And essentially there's a data dump, there's an analyzing program, and then there's a war chest style program that takes all the data that funnels into it at all times and analyzes it and breaks it down to exactly the meaningful info that is then deployed to people in the field. One thing about JADE 2.0, which is what we're at right now, is JADE 2.0 isn't using traditional computers. It's using very small, complex, little, tiny machines. It is a quantum-style computer. And that's something that hasn't been done on a war front that I know of. And a lot of times, when you're talking quantum computers, you're talking thousands of processors onto a space that you can't even see. It's so small. The military has finally come up with an answer of how do you listen to the world's data and analyze it and have the computing power to do it all in real time. With quantum computers, you can do that. That in itself is a lot that's coming at us. But without the quantum computers in the mix, they would never ever have the processing power to be able to pull off a war based upon real-time information delivered directly to the soldiers' hands in the field instantaneously. Essentially, what we're up against is we're up against a software program that's going to know us far better than we ever know ourselves. To the point, they even have modules that predetermine what somebody is about to do based upon past logging of all the historical data they've already collected. All of our patterns are easily seen. So the first phase of Jade Helm on top of getting all their equipment deployed across the United States in very strategic locations, is literally finding where are the enemies. What are we doing? And the reason they're keeping everything so secretive is so that we are exposing ourselves by every time that we send a text and talk about Jade Helm, every time that we talk about resistance, every time that we talk about this isn't the right thing to do. Almost instantaneously, the artificial intelligence software, Jade 2.0, filed on you and me and whoever it is they are after. So Jade 2.0 is essentially the full command and conquer style military program. It eliminates all the middlemen. It goes directly from the elite or whoever's top of the chain, and it goes directly to the soldiers. There is no middleman anymore. There's no more wait. There's no more having to wait for instructions, because Jade 2.0 can give you everything you need to know instantaneously by just giving it the right data. If you give it the right data, it's going to take the algorithm and it's going to show you what's up and where to go and where you need to put your firepower on. Over the last couple of years, they fired 200 of the top, the best, the top shelf generals. They've gotten rid of them. And they are the guys who would literally not pull the trigger on civilians. They want people who are willing to do whatever it takes. Some of the scary things that Jade can do, and why it's so scary, is the fact that this information is assimilated and it's run through war game software. And the war game software is able to tell them, the commanders in the field, real time, what to do, who the resistance is, and where the resistance is at. It's almost like a battle that you don't need real generals and colonels for. It's a battle that deploys and plays out by itself. What I personally find most heartbreaking is that essentially the technology that we've come to love and to use and to build and to change society for the better we hoped has now been used and is being used to hunt us and kill us, and is essentially our greatest enemy that we've known to date. If they were being forthcoming and were telling us what really Jade Helm was all about, we would be out scrambling and trying to find as much data as we can on this. This is why it's pretty clear to see that Jade Helm began the second they announced it, and the second people began reporting all the military action. And that's what Jade Helm is all about. It's about mastering the human domain. What will we do? What will we be doing next? How are we going to do it? Who are our friends? What do our friends think? Are there political people among us? Are there fighters among us? What are we going to do? Master the human domain. Every time you go to Facebook and look for Jade Helm stuff, when you go to YouTube, every single bit of this is fed back into Jade 2.0. Now, since they've gotten rid of the top commanders, it appears that now our military is essentially being run by a computer system.
A former NSA official claims that the United States is now a hair's breadth from becoming a turnkey totalitarian state.
Intelligence communities or agencies of the world are gaining too much influence over government, how governments operate. And this is moving really to a Stasi state, basically. And it's not just the United States, it's countries all around the world. You have to be aware that these agencies are threatening what is fundamental to human rights everywhere. And you've got to ensure that you have some way of verifying and keeping these agencies in line.
Though the official mandate of the NSA is to